You hear me?
Yep, I can hear you, sir.
Can you see me? No.
Not see you. There you go.
Here I am.
Look at that backdrop. Look at all those cool things behind you.
Oh yeah, let's see what I can. I have to get really close so I can see what you see. Yeah, let's see. That's like a really cool old Charlie Chaplin. It was actually from a film festival, but I really thought that was cool. This, I believe, is an Italian Midnight Cowboy.
Nice, yep.
That's a big one. If you look right at the top,
yeah,
it messes me up because it's like, here, there's the Valerie poster. I mean, this room's crazy. I mean, you go over here, there's more crazy Italian. There's like a lot of stuff in here. A lot of crazy stuff going on in this room.
Oh, Google was lying to me about time zones. That's why I emailed you saying, is everything okay? Because Google told me 3:30 was an hour ago. So Google said...
Google... Yeah, I was wondering, I was like, did I get it wrong? I was like, he's asking what time it is. Did I do something? And yeah, no. I thought maybe I was like, oh, did I put in your time that where you were? I was like, what have I done? Who knows?
You did nothing wrong. It was Google that was lying. So, but
all Google.
How's your day been? Because the documentary is out there in the wild now.
Yeah, it's out there, man. I've been doing a lot of posting and a lot of just social media. And I had an interview earlier this morning, and just trying to get the word out, share this with everybody. It's been 7 years in the making, and, I really want, everybody to see it and enjoy it, and just to get it out in the world.
Well, I will tell you the story about how I came to see your documentary, Valerie.
Okay.
And then you'll be able to gauge my reaction of having watched it. So I think Amazon had a big old sale earlier this month, Amazon Prime Day. So I went mad and bought loads of Blu-rays. And one of the I bought was the 188-minute version of Superman the movie, which is one of my all-time favorite films. I've never seen that version. So I on Blu-ray and I watched it, and it was great because there's more Gene Hackman, more Brando, more Perrine, more Christopher. It's like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is footage I've never seen before. So then I thought, well, I'm going to watch the theatrical, the Richard Donner director's cut, the 2 hour 25 one. So I watched that. I thought, well, I've watched those two, so I might as well watch Superman 2. So I watched both versions of Superman 2, all within about a week. And you know what? I wonder what happened to Valerie Perrine. I've not seen her in that many films over the past few years. I've seen her in an episode of ER because I'm rewatching some of that. I thought, let's have a look. Oh, she's got a Twitter account. That's amazing. Give her a follow. And probably a few days after that, she'd put a tweet out. She was having some slight issue with a credit on her IMDb page.
Oh, yeah.
On there. So I said, well, I've removed credits for people before. Would you like me to remove your credit?
Oh, yeah.
So she said, that would be amazing. So I sort of dealt with that and managed to get it removed. And Valerie sent me a lovely thank you message. So I'm geeking out. I'm like, this text might have sent me this is like the best thing ever, because I'm a big old film geek and always something.
Yeah.
She said, how would you like to see the documentary that is coming out about my life? And I'm like, that would be amazing. This text marker is going to let me watch a documentary. This is absolutely wonderful. This is the best thing in the history of the world. So you let me watch the documentary, and I had no clue about her personal life. I've seen her in the film. I had no idea some of the, and this is where I'm being cagey because I don't know how much you want to reveal before.
Yeah.
I know about it, so you can imagine my reaction when I press it, and it's like, wow. And for the next 36 minutes and 33 seconds, it came up with the end.
Oh, you're good.
My heart was pounding. It must be allergies because my eyes were leaking. I had lumps in my throat. Richard Donner pops up, which is like, oh, Richard Donner. It was a roller coaster of pretty much every emotion that I could possibly think of. And I watched it again tonight, and it got me again. I thought, you know what, I'm prepared for it because I've seen the documentary, and nope, got me again. It is one of the most emotional films I have seen for years, and I watch a lot of films.
Wow, really? Wow, that's a compliment. Thank you.
And it was very hard to review And the reason it's very hard movies are easy to review. You go, oh, that was a great film. I sat there with a big old bucket of popcorn and a big drink, and it was,
Yeah.
hopefully you'll appreciate it. You know, Valerie, you don't go out and get a big bucket of popcorn. It's not that sort of documentary. And
Yeah.
to put that into words, it tested me. I did it and I sent it to Valerie. I'm like, here's my thoughts on it, and she really liked it. I put it into review, and you've shared the review and stuff yourself. But it was emotional to review that as well. So how much do you want to reveal about what the documentary is about? I would literally just sit here for 20 minutes and go, seriously, everybody watch it, because it's one of the best.
I mean, we can give up some things for sure. I mean, you know, like you said, there are things you didn't know about her till you watched it. Like the Parkinson's. You know, the Parkinson's is, well, that's her life now. You know, but you know, we haven't like really put it out there a lot over the years, just because one reason, because we were doing the film, and you know, we wanted it to be you know, we didn't want to give all that away till it was time. And also, you know, it's you know, she's dealing with that, you know, the way she deals with it, you know, and it's just more, you know, it's a bit of a private thing. But as you saw in the film, you know, she trusts me. Here's the thing, Valerie, she's like my mother. Valerie's like my mother. We've been close friends since 2006. We met, literally, we lived in the same neighborhood. We met walking dogs. It was the craziest thing, and the story gets even crazier with whatever. But we just became really close, and you know, I see her several times a day. I see her every day. I'm the last person to see her every night. But yeah, we had this relationship, like she's like my mother. But you know, when I started shooting this, the first thing I shot was the surgery part, which you see. I mean, that's not giving anything away, but that's the very first thing I shot, because that was happening, and in my mind, I didn't even, before that, I wasn't a filmmaker. I was an actor, and I fell into filmmaking because of David Arquette. He had some little project came up, and it's like, oh, Stacey can shoot it, and I'm like, I don't know how to use a camera. I've never picked one up. Oh, it's easy. Use this one, and I just kind of had a knack for it. And so that little thing that I was helping him out with prepared me in a weird way for when the surgery was happening. I was like, this is a one-time thing. It has to be shot. I borrowed a camera and I shot, you know, what you see there. But, you know, from the get-go, Valerie was, she was for it. Like she was, you know, she was, you know, a lot of people, a lot of celebrities, they'll get sick with whatever ailment, and either they disappear, and you just don't hear anything really from them until they pass away or something. Then you hear the story, like, oh, they were battling this, or they had this, or whatever. And Valerie was cool. You know, she was, as you see, there's a whole day in the life there. You see, you know, it's very raw, and most people wouldn't show that, but she was, you know, she was really good about it. And also, you know, part of the reason she did it, like she was cool to show that, was there's so many people going through Parkinson's and ALS, you know, I mean, but any kind of disease, anything that just takes your vitality away. And she you know, her thing was like, you know, she wants people that are going through this to know they're not alone. This could happen to anybody. I mean, you know, here she is, one of the most beautiful women in the world, a movie star, you know, all these amazing things, and had this life that, you know, we could only imagine. And, you know, she's got it just like, you know, the guy at the grocery store or whatever. So, you know, she wanted to do it, you know, just to let people know they're not alone. And to also, you know, if somebody's going through a horrible time, you know, if they see the documentary, just to, you know, for them to know, hey, you're not alone. You can, you know, it's, this is really tough time, but, you know, let's, you know, use, just put your best foot forward, like try to make something positive out of something negative. Hope that wasn't too long of an answer.
Oh, her spirit is visible right through the film. Some of the many things, you know, the short quotes, when life gives you something, you fight.
Oh yeah.
It's a very short sentence, but that that is in concrete, that phrase. And you can see that in the documentary, and you can see it when she's on camera being interviewed. And the humor is still there. There is.
Oh.
I'm not going to give away her reply to the question, but there is one question that somebody asks her, and it's towards the end of the film where, so what have you not yet accomplished in life? And her reaction and her answer to that is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. Her facial reaction, and then the pause, and then her answer is like, wow.
Oh yeah, like she. Again, it was easy because she and I just have such a close relationship. But she's just led this life, and she's done everything. I mean, literally, if people could live 10% of the life that she's led, they would die happy. I mean, she's done things that we can only imagine, which is great. But like there were so many parts that made it in the film, and a lot of stuff that didn't, because it was going to be a feature film. And then I kind of decided I didn't want to make like an hour and a half movie, and then it get thin in spots, or you kind of get like, oh, okay, this is I wanted something. I figured if I did something short, it could be a much more powerful piece. And I think and people, the thing with this is the time people don't. Everybody that's seen it, they're like, oh, like I was enthralled from it started till the end. Like there was no like lag. I wasn't kind of like, oh, I can go to the bathroom now or anything like that.
No, there wasn't.
So, but yeah, like she says some great things in the movie. Like, I know that part's great. The thing about the Oscars, like after the Academy Award thing, where anybody else would make a big deal of it, and again, we won't give it away, but she's just kind of like, there's just so many great things that show who she really is. That's her. That's Valerie Perrine.
I love the woman. She's amazing. I mean, I'd obviously seen her in Superman the movie, and Superman 2, and various things throughout the years, but in such a short running time, in 36 minutes is a short running time. You have Valerie's put so much content into that, but it doesn't feel like it's running along at breakneck speed. So like you've said, there isn't anything in that where you're like, I can go put the kettle on, or I'll come back. It's certainly watching it the second time, it was like, oh, it's been on like 26 minutes. So it's a feature film in a 36-minute capsule.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think, it covers her life really well, because, I mean, as you've seen, for anybody watching or listening, there's a part, it starts off, there's part of her in Japan as a kid. People don't know about that part of her life. Her father was sent to help rebuild the Japanese economy after World War II. Like that little part is just, the thing with the emperor. You're like, what? This is crazy. And then when you get into the Vegas stuff, just to see Vegas in the 60s, like she was there when it was, the, old school Rat Pack, it was like, that was Vegas. That's the way Vegas should be, so you see this great Vegas stuff. And then there's that whole surprise at the end of that part. That got you, didn't it? That's another one I don't talk about, but that part was, go ahead.
More surprises in your 36-minute film than I've seen in the majority of feature films that I've watched this year. It was so much I didn't know. I knew her from Superman the movie, Superman 2, and I was familiar with her name. But there was so much in that I did not know. And I love the fact that there's a lot of archival footage in there. So her Letterman and all this sort of stuff. It's pure gold, and it just sort of makes you just fall in love with this woman.
Thank you, man. I mean, like that's a great compliment. Thank you. I mean, again, like you couldn't ask for a better person to do a documentary about. I mean, like all that, like she has like extensive archives. Literally, there's these little filing cabinets. Every movie is in it, and it like Lenny might have 6 folders, or Superman might have 5 folders, and it's all broken up into what it is. And then there's Vegas, and then there's this, I literally scanned like 1,600 photos, magazine, press, like anything I could get because I didn't know what I was going to need. And then she had a whole trunk of VHS tapes. I had to go through all those to see, because I'm luckily pack rat. I have a VHS player, so I was like, oh, this is great. And I went through all that, and I found some of that stuff which you can't find anywhere. That's the amazing thing. But yeah, she just had so much. There was so much to work with, archival, and just again with her life. I mean, again, when you get and then you get into the Hollywood part of her life. I mean, you get the glitz, the glam, the that 1970s Hollywood is the end, really, of like the Hollywood era. Like she was a movie star. Movie stars were movie stars. It still had that thing, and it was a little dirty here, but then there was all the glitz and the glam, and I mean, come on. I mean, that's what I want to see in a movie.
There's like, again, to keep going back to the 36-minute thing, you could literally do a feature-length documentary on her Vegas years, and then you could do another feature-length on her movie years, and there is so much. She's crammed so much into her life that makes me feel bad. Like I've only done 1% of what she's done.
Oh, believe me, I feel bad all the time. I'm like, I should be a lot further along than this. I should be, all these kind of things. But yeah, no, she's had like so much. She's lived so much. I mean, the stuff that didn't even make it in the documentary. I mean, she's dated princes. She's had like her romantic life. She's dated, some of the most famous people in the world. And, she was in a plane crash, which people don't know about. It was a boyfriend of hers. I think it was 75. They were going to the San Sebastian Film Festival, and the plane was started taking off, doing its thing. And then something happened, and it wasn't that far. It wasn't like way up in the air, but it went down, it hit a boulder, ripped a wing off, and all this stuff. And the funny thing is, everybody's freaking out, and her boyfriend, I think, is like, come on, we gotta get off, or whatever it was. And she's like, her thought was, get my makeup bag. That was like her first, and it was just a weird thing, because it was such a a catastrophe almost, but you don't think the way you should. And her first thought was, get my bag of makeup, gotta look my best. And so there's so many good little things that didn't make it, but you have to, when you gotta find what fits in that puzzle.
So did you start with like a longer version and then think, well, this part doesn't quite fit into the documentary, or did you remove these pieces before this went into the finished product?
Well, we started assembling it, so we kind of found what all we had, and you kind of start in a spot, like, okay, we got to start somewhere, and then you kind of build out, and I mean, I had there's some great interviews that didn't make it in, that I wished would have, but it was coming along as a feature, as a feature length, but like I said, it just hit a spot of, it would be more powerful as a short piece, but also I had another idea that if a movie's under 40 minutes, it can be Academy qualifying, for the Oscars. If it wins like, a film festival, there's a few different ways it can do it. But so my thought was, let's make it right under 40. I'll put it in a bunch of Academy qualifying festivals and just see what happens. And if it wins one, then you get like considered for the Oscars. So that's what happened. I got like 5 or 6 festivals. I won. I was the best short documentary at one, and I won that, and that's what got us in the consideration for the Oscars. Now I won another one, but I thought it was kind of a better idea. I thought just for what the movie was and who she was and all that. I mean, if I could go back, I might make it a little longer, maybe an hour longer or something, because I think that would have helped it there were a lot of people who loved it. I mean, like industry people, but shorts are a little bit harder of a sell, you know, for those things. So, if I had it to do over, I might make it, you know, over an hour and you know, and I don't know. It's just hard to say. I don't know what it'd be a different movie, you know.
And it might be something in a few years' time you might go, let me, you know, like Valerie's got her big archive, you've got all the archives with all these interviews. Maybe one day you'll go, actually, I might.
Yeah, for sure. You never know. Hey, it's what filmmaking's all about.
Well,
I can have like they can be like the Richard Donner cut of the Valerie story.
I remember the Richard Donner cut was long rumored. Like, does this really exist? For years, and then eventually came out, and it was, for me, it was just like mind blowing, because it's not just like 2-3 minutes extra. It's, you know, in a lot of ways, it's a very different film.
Oh, it's such a different film. Yeah, I have it, and I watched the first one. I mean, because I have them. I watched the first one after Dick passed away, and then I was gonna watch. I have the Donner cut, and then I put it in, and something was wrong with the disc. It kept skipping. I was like, and so I went out the next day and I bought another one. So I still need to watch the Donner cut because I haven't seen it in years. But I mean, come on. And I mean, there's another thing. I mean, what a loss. We just lost Richard Donner, but he's in the documentary.
And that got me right in the heart as well when Richard popped up. I'm like, because this was literally days after he passed away. And it was, I don't know. I've always been a film fan, so to me, I get more attached to people on screen that I've never actually met than, you know, I don't really have that many people around me in real life. So when something happens to one of my own screen idols, that really hurts. And Richard, it was a shock. I was working a night shift when it broke online. I'm like, it's not good. But,
yeah, no, I mean, you know, I met him for this, and he was nice to do it. Like there's if you're a big Superman fan, there's a guy named Jim Bowers. He does Caped Wonder. Like he's the Superman guy. Like he's the guy. And I met him. They were doing a Superman celebration thing at like a Comic-Con type thing. And Valerie and I went to that. And I was shooting her then. This was like 2015 or something. And none of that made it in the film, but I was just shooting her doing the thing, and I started talking to him, and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm making this documentary." And he was kind of, "Oh, that's cool." And I was like, "Yeah, I need to get some more people." Like, blah blah. He's like, "Oh, I know Richard Donner. I can get you in touch with his assistant. He'll do it for sure." I got the number. I got whatever, and then Donner was like, "Yeah." It was just set it up, and I mean, I didn't have a lot of time with him, but I mean, I think I had 15 minutes because he was super busy, but he gave me that time. He gave me a nice little interview, and you know, just a super, super sweet guy. And like you were saying, I think a lot of people, especially here that are in the industry, but also just fans, this is a big loss for them because, I mean, look at all the great movies he made that are such a part of so many of our childhoods. You know, you got Superman, you got, you know, Goonies, you got Lethal Weapon. I mean, you got he was so amazing. I mean, talented. That's not even a word you can put for him because it's beyond that. You know, it's like he's a genius. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people felt, you know, that like somebody really close to them had passed away. So.
And you've got the wonderful Sarah Douglas in there who...
Yeah, here, right behind you over there.
She sent me that last month. She's like, would you like on the light? Yes, I love one of those. But I'm a
she's the best. I love Sarah Douglas. Come on. Yeah. Love her. And she pops up, as you saw. That was probably... Well, had you seen the trailer? Or you just saw the... so you saw her. That was another surprise.
The first time...
You had blinders on.
Distance was when Valerie said, would you like to see this documentary? I'm like, I would love to. I hadn't seen the trailer. I hadn't read any articles about it at this time. And then obviously now I'm tweeting about it here, then everywhere. It's generally what I do anyway. So, but I went in fully blind. So you can imagine my reaction, not knowing anything about his life and stuff. So, and then to see all these people pop up on screen, Jeff Bridges.
Oh, yeah. Like that was another nice, just another generous person that, agreed to do an interview with me. I mean, again, like, this was just me shooting people. I didn't have a crew with me. This was me, guerrilla style. I would make the calls pretty much. I would find, again, a lot of people, were, they worked with Valerie, or they were still friendly with her. So some of it wasn't that hard, but the hard part, the thing that I dreaded, when I had to call and try to get somebody, like I'd have to call their PR person or something, and then I had to explain who I was. I'm like, oh, hi, my name's blah, blah, blah. I'm Stacey. I'm calling on behalf of Valerie Perrine. And, if it was somebody young, they're like, who? And I'm like, oh, she was in Lenny with Dustin Hoffman, and, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But no, I was really lucky about all the great interviews I got. I mean, again, like Donner, Jeff Bridges, George Hamilton, Angie Dickinson. I mean, come on.
David Arquette. Get David.
Yeah, David's the best. David's one of my buddies.
And this is all within 36 minutes. I don't even know how you edited all this together. It doesn't feel rushed. It doesn't feel too long. Yeah, the timing of it all is immaculate.
Oh, I mean, again, like I had help on, like, again, I shot all the stuff and I did all of that. But once it came to like assembling the film and all those things, I mean, I'm the editor, Jacob Kirby, amazing editor. Like he and I worked together through it, like we worked on it, but he did the editing, but I would sit with him and we would figure out stuff. Jacob's amazing. I couldn't have done it without Aaron Harvey, who's a writer, director. If you've ever seen Catch 44, The Neighbor, Into the Ashes. I mean, all of his movies are great. His first movie had, Bruce Willis and Forrest Whitaker and Malin Ackerman. It's kind of Tarantino-esque, but it's cool. And I think his last movie had like Frank Grillo and Luke Grimes and all these other people. So if you don't know Aaron Harvey, look him up. He's got some great movies that you can find on Prime and things like that. And also another shout out to a lovely producer, Oliver Ridge. He's an English guy. I don't know if you know Oliver, but Oliver's a really sweet guy. Couldn't have made the movie without him. And then, of course, David Arquette and Christine Arquette are producers. They're like family. Like Valerie's known Christina since Christina was born. Like her mother and aunt are best friends with Valerie. So that's how I got into that world and all that. But yeah, David and Christina were kind of part of it. And, from when I came up with the whole idea. So just, it's nice having support of those people and just, having, it helps a lot getting doors open when you have a name attached. Yeah. Then they're like, oh, okay, this person's like, they're serious. They're like legit,
It's like the brand recognition, to use the phrase, isn't it? Go, oh, I recognize that name. Yes, you can come in.
Oh, totally. If I just said, oh, I'm Stacey Souther, they'd be like, who is she? Where's she? Where's Stacey Souther? Where's she at? And I'm like, no, that's me. That's a guy. But when you say, David Arquette's part of it, and I've interviewed Jeff Bridges and Stacy Keach, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah. What's this about? Let me talk to you.
Then they listen. All right, now you can speak.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, I've got your ear. Okay.
So what was it like when you assembled perhaps a work print or the final version to then sit down with Valerie and watch it? What was her reaction to this, the version that she saw? Because that must be, it's to sort of say it's an honest documentary would be the biggest understatement that I could possibly give. But it is. It's so brave of her to go, put it out there. I don't know if I would. I'm too chicken.
Yeah. Oh no. I mean, again, like we were saying, somebody that's, I mean, she's known for her beauty and her, just her charisma, just all those things that make, I mean, I can't even come up with all the words because it would take too many words to like even describe who she is. But no, I mean, again, it's very brave of her to to let that out into the world, because again, like people see when they see the film, it's not candy coated. Like, it's a day in the life of somebody that's battling a disease, but with class, and with like her spirit comes through, but yeah, like you were saying, I mean, the print, the cut changed a little bit here and there. I mean, especially the first thing I showed her, but she's loved it every cut she's seen. And even today, because I think I said, I see her 3-4 times a day. I saw her this morning, and I was showing her the trailer, because I don't know if she's seen the trailer or not. But anyway, I showed her the trailer. I was like, "What do you think?" She was like, "It's wonderful." So, I mean, I have her seal of approval, and I think that's really what matters. So
she's been tweeting up a storm, not just today, but any art, any reviews of the documentary. I think she's spending all day on Twitter, as Valerie.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, she's home, so it's a good way to connect with the what's going on. And I mean, when it's nice to have that, especially people that have seen the movie already, or just getting the word out when they see it pop up that on her feeds. Then people are like, "Oh, I got to check this out,"
And I think there's the social media campaign, to use the word. It's working very well, because I think there was one day last week when I just put a tweet out with the cover art, and then for days this thing has just been retweeted, and not necessarily from the people that are on my timeline, but it's all out there. It's going all over the globe. So that's
the thing. It's I'm just a regular guy. My stuff isn't anything. Nobody's picking up my tweets and making any big deal, But when it's, I know what her feeds look like, and I think when Ned Beatty passed away a month ago or whatever, I know she did a tweet, and like that thing got, I think it got like 3,000 or something, 4,000 likes or something, which that's a lot for her pages, because I watch her stuff too, because it it deals with what we're doing here, the movie, but yeah, it's amazing the reach that and the power that social media has.
So how have you spent your release day for the doc? Obviously you've mentioned you've done some interviews, but emotionally, is it, are you nervous? Are you excited? Are you everything? Are you absolutely exhausted because you've got a really busy 7 years with this documentary? Now it's out in the wild. Now it's out.
Yeah. It's weird because you it's your baby. You raise it. You do this thing. You hope that it'll do the best it'll do. And I've been wanting to put it out for a long time, and and then, again, people would get interested in it. And then, they'd be like, "Oh, we don't really have a place for it. We love the movie. We love Valerie," or, we love this, but we're going for like a young demographic and this wouldn't fit in, like those kind of things. So there were things where people were interested. Then we would hold off because like, okay, let me see what they say. And, in this world, it's a waiting game. It's all, everything movie wise. It's like you're always waiting. So, I mean, we planned on maybe doing it a couple of months ago. And then some things came up, and so waited. And then finally it's like, I want to put it out first because, it's a love letter to Valerie, and, I want fans, her fans that want to catch, they're wondering where she's at, what happened to her. I want them to rediscover her. And I also want a new segment of the new fans to find her, like a younger people, because it's so weird. I mean, her fan base, there's Slaughterhouse-5, that's a certain kind of thing. Lenny, that's a whole nother world. Superman, that's a crazy huge world of fans. and then you have like a Can't Stop the Music. And that, I mean, she, there's so many layers to her fan base. But yeah, I hope a lot of people see it and just, kind of get to catch up with her. But again, I wanted to get it out there because, I mean, she'll be 78, September the 3rd. Just putting it out there. But she's not going to be around forever. I mean, nobody is, and I wanted to get the movie out so she could enjoy, whatever, whatever accolades came from it, or again, like a rediscovery of her, kind of like I don't know, not a phoenix rising up out of the ashes. That's a little crazy, but like it's kind of like a rebirth. And I also think that this film is a nice bookend to her career. It's a real. I think it's a real positive, like a real positive ending, because she can't act anymore. She won't ever act again. So her last actual film role was in Silver Skies, this movie that Rosemary Rodriguez wrote and directed. I think it came out in 2015 or something.
But
yeah, I mean, like I think this is something that again is a nice positive note. And it's also, it's not just a movie. It's about her life, and it captures her spirit. And I think I just think it's a good tribute to her and her career and her life. It's a good end note, I think.
It really is, because obviously it covers her illness and her dealing with the illness. But the documentary is so full of positivity as well, but perfectly balanced. So that's where I was struggling reviewing it. I'm like, I don't know what to type on this. I know I loved it, but can I say I loved it? I sort of sat down for a couple of hours going, right, okay. Especially because I was typing it to Valerie going, here's my thoughts on the documentary. So I want to make sure all the word is as perfect as I can make it. And it is definitely a love letter. And I would just urge everybody to watch it.
Thank you. Well, believe me, I hope everybody watches it too. That's why, I'm doing the same thing. It's like, I mean, because of COVID and just the way the world is now, it's, and plus we're doing this is self-distribution. So I don't have anybody like doing PR for me and setting up all interview, like, helping to get the word out there. It's mostly me, and, well, like, again, Valerie, but I mean, I'm the one doing all the lifting, we'll say. So, I mean, it's good. I mean, it's exciting, and it's fun to have all this happening and being able to talk about the project after all these years and all the hard work, and, to give everybody their, the credit they deserve. But yeah, it's kind of crazy, man.
Must be quite physically exhausting as well. Not necessarily in a bad sense, but the film's out there, and then there's interviews and tweets and articles and reviews, and you just make sure you just take a moment for yourself and have a nice drink of cold water or whatever, and then you'll be off and running again, and so on. Because I think this documentary is going to be around for a long time.
Well, I hope so. Tomorrow we're going to I'm going to do a little dinner thing. We're going to do like a little celebration thing. Valerie and I mean, I'm just going to get some really good food and just take it over. And we're going to do like a little dinner at her house. But, just again, a little, one more thing to like, hey, good job. This is all about you. Let's celebrate you some more. Why not?
When I tweeted out a couple of weeks ago that I'd watched Superman, Valerie very quickly replied saying, now you need to watch Slaughterhouse 5 and Can't Stop the Music, and you will have kind of overview of my 70s career. So I've never seen Slaughterhouse 5, so I've got that on order. I have seen Lenny, but not for a few years, so I'm going to revisit that one as well. So the resurgence that you mentioned, I'm doing it as well. So
yeah, it's cool. I mean, like Slaughterhouse 5 is it literally it's one book that really follows the movie really follows the book. Like it's really, sometimes they kind of stray away, but that follows really well. It's kind of a time capsule. It's a George Roy Hill film who, he did Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid. He did The Sting. I mean, he was a huge director. And Valerie and him, they were really, really close friends. Then Lenny, I mean, come on. You got Dustin Hoffman, Bob Fosse. She plays Hot Honey Harlow. It's, sex, drugs, horror, it's all these things. And it's like the perfect role. And she was amazing. I mean, let's just put it this way. When Bob Fosse says, "You're the greatest actress I've ever worked with," that's a pretty big deal. That means something.
Go to the Oscars.
Yeah, exactly.
You put into all that as well. I think it is a documentary that, because obviously you can rent it and you can buy it option on Vimeo. There's not much more than the rental, so buy it and then you can watch it loads and loads of times. You don't let anybody else watch it, if you rent it themselves.
Yeah, no, that's kind of was the idea behind it too. You'll see some of these things where it'll be $10-15 to buy something that's an hour long. And again, we really wanted to get it out there for the fans to see. So we made it very considerably reasonably priced. Like you said, $2.99 to rent it for $1 more. Just buy it. You can watch it whenever you want. But yeah. I think the Vimeo thing's pretty cool. I mean, it's a little different than I think what some people are used to. I mean, with the Prime, and not to say that it won't eventually land on some other platform down the road, but for now, we just wanted to get it out and to share it with the world. So that's why we did it this way. And it seems to be working. No one's complained, because you can do it on your TV. Some people, there's a whole way you can do that. I think a lot of people, just because they're just so like Vimeo, like is my phone or my computer, but it's a cool platform.
I watched it on a 55-inch TV, so it looks.
Yes.
I may end up watching on a projected wall, because I have a projector downstairs as well, but so I'll probably check it out.
Wow, that's impressive. That's cool. Wow, that's really cool. Yeah, that's the way it should be seen. I wish we could all see it that way. Even if we had to go to a drive-in, we'll see.
So what is your plan for the rest of the day? Any more interviews lined up, or are you actually able to take a little bit of a breather?
This is going to be the end of the interviews today. It's not like I've had a ton, but they kind of started. Let's see. I think you're my you're my fourth or fifth. I got a few more, and hopefully I get some more come up. Just to keep spreading the word. I just don't want to, post like, hey, if anybody wants to interview me about this movie, because then it just seems kind of desperate. But if anybody does want to interview me for this movie, you know where I am.
I will. If anybody wants to interview Stacey, he's over there.
Yeah,
he's very nice.
Yeah, here he is.
So, but I'm going to end with a big pile of thanks. So thank you to yourself for making the documentary. Obviously, thanks to all your cast and crew, everybody who's interviewed, and obviously a huge thank you to Valerie for not only letting you do it, but also just being so damn amazing on camera as well.
I know, she's a godsend. I mean, come on, she literally, when they broke the mold, there's only one Valerie. That's just the way it is. I mean, she's very special. Anybody that knows her is lucky enough to have her in their lives. They know how special she is, and she is. And I'm lucky that I get to spend time with her every day, and I get to we get I love her. What can I say?
Isn't that something Richard Donner, I think, says, doesn't he? He's like, she's Valerie.
Yeah, she's Valerie. Totally.
It says it. It's like, yeah. Sums it.
Yeah. Richard Donner, he was great. I want to throw in two things before we wrap up. Here's one that's a side note that I think people might like. Fact, Valerie was the first topless woman on American television. That she holds that. No one can ever take it away. She did a play that was on PBS with Bill Bixby called Steam Bath by Bruce J. Friedman, and whole shower scene, because I know all you guys are going to be looking to get this movie now. It's kind of hard to find. And she turns just enough where she exposes her breast, and she's the first woman to expose her breast on American television.
Yeah.
But no, a couple of things that I just wanted, if anybody's looking for the movie, I don't know, do you put stuff at the bottom or?
I will put the link in. I've added that into the review as well, the Vimeo link into the review.
Oh, okay. So you got all that stuff. You can also, if you want to put in ValerieMovie.com, like all the links, like that's there too. If somebody can't, if they're like, oh, what was the thing, or they can't find it, it's ValerieMovie.com, and then it's also in her bios and stuff. But I just want to throw in that there's also a GoFundMe link that's in the ValerieMovie.com. That is just for, to help, raise some extra money to help Valerie with her, it's like with medical costs and those things. So I that's another reason for the movie. I just want to get the word out and, just to help her any way that, that we can.
I'll add those when I finish this conversation with you, and you'll see the article. I'll share it every few days, because generally the way it works with the whole, not everybody's on Twitter tonight, but they may be tomorrow, and it's got out through Facebook and Instagram. And this conversation will go onto my YouTube page, which generally I'll do audio podcasts more than anything else, but I like to do special things like this video one. This is also going to get turned into an audio version, and will go out on my long-running podcast. I've been podcasting for about 11 years now. So,
oh, wow. I think the whole podcast thing's fascinating to me. I mean, especially somebody like you who's got in so long ago before it was like a thing. And now it's, like all these celebrities have them. Like there's so many of them. That's one of the ways I actually passed when the pandemic hit. I would go on these, long walks. It'll sound kind of crazy, through the alleys of Beverly Hills, because I knew I wouldn't see anybody. But, I'd go twice a day, and it was like, I'd do like 10 miles a day. But I would just listen to podcasts, because it would just kind of, take you away somewhere else, and you weren't thinking about all the craziness that was going on at the beginning of the pandemic, So I love podcasts. They're the best.
What are a couple of your favorites that you listen to?
Couple of my favorites. Let's see, who do I really like? What's his? Michael Rosenbaum. He was Lex Luthor on Smallville. He has a pretty good one. He has some good guests. Let's see. Leonard Maltin has a pretty good one. The movie critic. There's some really good ones I like. There was one. What's it called? Once Upon a Time in the Valley. It's about the porn star Tracy Lords. Yeah. Like that was really interesting, just because she had nothing to do with it, but it was telling her whole like backstory, like her whole just her life. I
read her biography years ago, and it was fascinating.
I want to get it. Yeah, I haven't read it. I follow her. I don't know her. I met her before for like a minute. But yeah, I want to check out that book. Like I love that kind of stuff. Not, like I don't watch it, but like just that world of like porn stars of like the 60s and 70s and it's just that world that they lived in, or burlesque dancers, like all that, because it's just such a different world than anything else, especially at those time periods. There's just something fascinating about it to me. I'm trying to think. There's some good murder, like true crime ones that I've listened to. I'd have to literally pull out my phone and because there's so many good ones I can't think off the top of my head.
So I'm definitely going to check out the Michael Rosenbaum one. I didn't know he did the podcast. So
yeah, he gets some good people in there. Rosenbaum's good. And if you want to, the side note, if you want to watch, if you're looking for like a documentary to watch, after you've watched Valerie, of course, everybody. You cannot kill David Arquette.
Yes, I saw that on your IMDb page.
Yeah.
That's yours, wasn't it? So yeah.
Yeah. It's a great documentary. I was a producer on it. I pop up in it a little bit. It's on Hulu and it's on Canopy now, I know too. But it's all about David's return to professional wrestling. In 2000, he won the heavyweight belt. It was this whole like crazy thing because he's promoting a movie, and the wrestling world hated him. I mean, for years. I mean, they hated him. They would spit on him. They would just and this is for like 2 decades. And then he had this thing. He's like, I want to redeem myself. I want to earn the respect of the wrestling community. So he literally dropped like 50 pounds, really learned how to like the whole thing. It's in this documentary. There was a death match where he almost died. I mean, it's crazy, but it's another one where David showed a whole raw side. He showed stuff that most people wouldn't normally show. So that's a really good one. If you're just like, if you're looking for something like, what do I want to watch? That one's a good one to check out. I think you might like it.
Definitely. I remember hearing about it coming out because it's like, what? Wrestling? David Arquette? What? That sounds strange. Is that a real thing? And then it is a real thing and it's now available to watch. But
yeah, that one's kind of crazy. But yeah, it's a good one too.
Obviously, after everybody's watched Valerie. Of
course. Come on. Valerie Perrine way before David Arquette.
I genuinely mean, I'm not saying this just because I'm talking to you or whatever. That is genuinely one of the best documentaries that I personally have watched. So
that's impressive. Thank you so much.
I'm not one of these that's like, it's the best thing in the history. I genuinely loved it. Even on the second viewing, it still got to me. So
no, that means a lot to me. I mean, that's like I said, that's what I want to hear. I wanted it to affect people, and just yeah, I mean, yeah, that means a lot to me. I really appreciate that.
And I will be keeping an eye on your career as well and watching what else you do because I'm now a Stacey fan.
Well, thank you. Hey, you can start the fan club.
Well, the UK base of the fan club with the correct time zones as well. I will aim for that as well. So.
It'll be cool. We got it. I can't believe. Yeah, you know Sarah? Have you met her or just?
Met her, but over the Christmas card offer. So we speak a lot on social media.
Yeah.
And Sarah and I have been sort of virtually speaking for probably about 7 years, I think now, and I've not managed to meet up with her. So
yeah,
at some point we will, but yeah, she's great.
Oh, she's the best. I mean, she's the best. She's one of the just nicest, most caring people, and she's funny. I mean, her wit. She's amazing. Anybody that doesn't know Sarah Douglas, follow her, learn more about her because she's just amazing.
And very sort of interactive with her fans as well, which is nice. As is Valerie.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? Some people aren't. Some celebrities, are like, but it's nice when you have a little bit of a personal connection with people.
So I carry on with your day, but I'm glad you've enjoyed release day. It will now become release week and release month, release year. So it's never going to end for you. You're always going to be doing podcasts and interviews.
Yeah. I need you around more often. I like this. I like all this positivity.
If ever you have a little moment where you feel down, just drop me an email or drop me a tweet. I'll be like, you're the best thing in the world. Slice bread. It's all about Stacey.
I love this. Yeah, look out. You may have an inbox full soon.
Definitely. I'll just hold the space in that. Enjoy the rest of your day. And once again, thank you very much to everybody who helped put my favorite documentary ever together.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it. And thanks for your time and putting the word out about the film and just being more than a fan, but just a lover of Valerie and her life. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you take care, Stacey. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right. Thanks, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Right. See ya.